Welcome to the Speak Your Way to Cash podcast, a podcast where we teach speakers how to land paid speaking engagements and corporate contracts. Each week, we deliver high-quality content that teaches you how to level up your speaking business. Be sure to join the Speak Your Way to Cash Facebook group after having your mind blown by this information-filled episode. Now, here's your host, Ashley Kirkwood, lawyer and professional speaker. This is the Speak Your Way to Cash podcast.
When you're trying to figure out something that you want to achieve in life, what I recommend you do is you ask not about the end result, not just like, how do you get the ultimate thing, but you ask about the thought process along the way and the specific steps. So I like to ask people about habits, not about one-time occurrences. Greatness never comes from doing something one time, even if you think you did it one time. And here's what I mean by this. The first time I pitched Fox News Chicago, I got on air. The first time I pitched Fox News Chicago, I got on air. But I did not get that engagement or that feature, that media feature, because I pitched them that one time. I got that media feature because I had pitched so many other networks, sometimes horribly, all those other times. And by the time I pitched them, I had had so many reps in the pitching game that I was able to do it so well. So everyone that saw the feature that was interested in being on the press asked the same question. How did you get on Fox? No one asked about the habits. No one asked, how many networks did you pitch before you got on there? What did the pitch say that got you on there? What time did you send the pitch? And so what I'm saying to you all this morning, it's Thursday, I believe. My times are like way off in the pandemic. So good morning, good morning. Hey, sis. Is that Janine? Yes. Hey, sis. Y'all got to go buy her book. Sis, drop the name of your book in the, but here's the thing. It's on confidence. Hey, you want to make sure that you're asking the right questions, because that's going to get you there. So here's a life hack. Whenever you want something in life, period, no matter what it is, whenever you want something in life and you see someone who has it and you have the opportunity to get coached by them or to ask them questions, resist the urge to ask the question solely about the end result. Because guess what? Chances are, even if they have the chance to give you an answer, it's not going to be an answer that helps you to move forward because they don't have the time. So here's the thing. Whenever I get an opportunity to talk to somebody who's done amazing things in their life, I never ask the question about the end result. You know what other question I don't ask? I don't ask them how they feel about the end result if I'm trying to duplicate their success. So what I'm going to do during this live is I'm going to tell you guys the questions that I've gotten over my life that I thought were like not the best. And I'm only going to say it not because I wasn't annoyed by it or anything like that, but it's just that I realized that it's not that we don't have the strategy, is that we don't always know the questions to ask to get the strategy that we need. And a part of knowing how to pitch people to get big opportunities is knowing the questions to ask. A part of landing large deals with corporate clients and bulk selling your books and bulk selling your speaking services and serving people at a high level is knowing the questions to ask and then knowing how to identify the answers and properly file them away in your mental system. So number one, I don't ask people about how they feel about their success in general. Now, if I'm doing an interview with someone, maybe I'll ask. If I'm doing a case study with a client, I may ask how they feel about their success. But when I am trying to find out how to duplicate a result, I typically am not asking that person, well, how did it feel? And here's an example that I get. I was in the 14% of lawyers that had opportunities to work at large law firms. Lots of lawyers go to law school hoping to land a job at a large law firm. Only 14% or so at the time I wrote my book, The Law School Hustle, were able to get that. So I would go speak all around the country at law schools about how I landed the job, how I got the grades, how I transferred into Northwestern law after going to a lower ranked law school. And the number one question that I received from students who wanted to do the same thing was, well, how did it feel being the only Black woman in a white institution? And I never liked that question because the truth is, regardless of how it felt, even if I told you how I felt about it, my answer would not give you the power. It wouldn't empower you to duplicate the result. The result that you want is landing a job at a large law firm. Now, if you're a Black woman, the better question would be, how did you appropriately navigate being the only Black woman at a large law firm? Who were your mentors? How did you find out that you could trust them? How did you discern? You know what I mean? So you want to make sure you're not asking questions just about how people feel about things, because the root of it, people didn't really care. How I felt in a particular environment shouldn't necessarily inform how you will feel in that environment. And do you want to know why that is? Very simple. The reason I never liked the question, how do you feel about being in this environment? Or how does it feel to make 6 figures? Or how does it feel to make 7 figures? Is because what I have found about highly successful people, high achieving people, is they have such a good pulse on how to overcome negative thoughts and negative environments that how they regurgitate how they felt may not help you. My husband told me that I do this. He was like, I feel like when people ask you, how was it for you to go through law school and be in all white environments and achieve in spite of your race possibly being a deterrent to some people and all of that, you always give them a positive spin on it. And you don't always tell them about the negative sides. Like he was like, because it was that one day you were really upset. You were mad. You couldn't believe those people did you like that. You thought she marked you unfairly and all these things. And all of that is true. However, I hope that you all, if this is making sense to you, just drop a yes in the comments, because the truth of the matter is, there are bad things that have happened to me along my journey to where I'm at now, and along my journey to landing dream jobs and having black cars and all of that. Along the way, there were bad things that happened. However, the way that I have to look at my past and looking back and like processing it is in a way that serves my future. So one trait of people who are highly successful, in my opinion, and people who've overcome a lot of different things in their lives is that even if they wanted to tell you all the bad things that happened to them in their past, and they wanted to have a pity party with you about what you're going through, and they wanted to look back over what's gone on in their life and feel sorry for themselves, they can't, because doing that doesn't serve their future, and they don't dwell on things that don't serve their future. Because to them, and to me, I can speak personally for myself. For me, I can't allow what happened to me in my past to be a deterrent to all the lives I'm going to change in the future. So even if I wanted to tell you it's going to be horrible and hard and you're going to have some bad days, when I look back on the sum total of what I've overcome and what I've gone through, I have processed it in such a way that it was all for my good anyway. That it all taught me something anyways, no matter how bad, how gory, how embarrassing it was, it all taught me something anyways. And so sometimes the reason why you haven't been able to achieve the way that you want to achieve is because you have an inaccurate and an unhealthy view of your past. And whenever someone asks you about your past, you dwell not on the positive lessons, not on the things that you've learned, not on the things that can make you better, not on the things that can make you transformative to others, but on the things that make you feel bad. And so in turn, they don't look at you as a solution to their problems. They're still looking at you as a problem yourself. And no one wants to hire someone who is a problem or brings extra problems into their lives, even if people feel bad for you. So you hear sometimes people will say, I don't want pity. Or when they talk about their past, it's always in a way that's like, yeah, this happened to me, but I'm not a victim. What I learned from it is X, Y, and Z. I had to go through that so I could help A, B, and C. And it's not because people are being inauthentic. It's just because they've properly processed. So you want to make sure that when you have the opportunity to ask someone about how they achieve something, you're not asking just about how they feel about it, but you're asking them about how they thought about it. What are their habits? How did they overcome that thing? A better question would be, what's the positive self-talk you have with yourself on a consistent basis to get you through hard times? What are you telling yourself? What are you reading? What are you listening to? How are you praying? Who are you praying to? You know what I mean? Like, there are so many ways that you can get to the root of that thing that I want you all to recognize that there's always a way to get great answers. You just have to be willing to ask great questions. Okay. And so that's the first one. So the first one is like, how do you feel about success? I think there's better ways to get to the root of that. The second is like, don't just ask about the end result, because that's a big question. So for me, that would look like someone saying, man, you just landed a 6-figure contract. How'd you land a 6-figure contract? Like, what do I need to do? If we're having a quick interaction and you're not in Speak Your Way to Cash Academy, you're not in one of my coaching programs, you're not engaged with me on a deeper level, right? You asking me about the end result it's going to be tough, because all I can give you in generalities or in the time that we have, if we're just talking in passing or you're just asking a question on a webinar, is not enough time to go into all the steps. So I can summarize some of the things that we've done, but it's not enough time to go into all the steps. So better questions are going to go back to habits. What did you do on a consistent basis to land that engagement? Who did you speak to there? What was their job title? What was their job title? How many pitches did you send out? How long did it take to land your first contract? What were you doing before? What did you pitch them? So the point is that in my mind, and because I get it, like I'm just like, we're all in this together. We all have the same questions. When I see someone achieving something, it's like, oh, how'd you get the ultimate thing? But what I've learned and what I know is that no one ever gets great results off of one-time action. Even if they think they did something one time, it was their habits well before that, their preparation well before that helped them get there. And it all takes patience. And I'm not a particularly patient person. Becoming a mom has made me a lot more patient, but I'm still not the type of person who's going to, kind of sit around and let things happen. No, I do things consistently that eventually yield results because I'm consistent in those things. And so you want to make sure that when you have those opportunities to talk to folks who've done really big things, whatever it may be, who've done anything, who has any type of success that you'd like to duplicate, you ask them great questions. The other thing, are you asking the right person the wrong questions? Sometimes questions that you feel you need answers to, you don't need answers to.
Quick question. Will you let me coach you for 3 days? Look, I know that it will be life-changing. I have seen it with my own eyes. So I want you to join me at Speak Your Way to Cash Live 2021, November 4th through the 6th. It's a hybrid event and it's our 6th one, okay? I'm not trying these strategies out on you all. I'll be teaching you what you need to land 5- and 6-figure corporate speaking contracts, grow your speaking business, sell to large and medium-sized corporations as well as colleges, and get the press that you need to start getting some of those inbound inquiries that everyone wants. We'll cover pitching. We'll cover press. We'll cover assembling your proposal and proposal writing. We'll make sure that we also cover how to deliver a rock-solid speech, develop your framework, and guess what, guys? If you've attended in the past, this year is 100% new content, same focus, all right? So I want you to join me there. And if you get a VIP ticket, you can meet me live. We will be live and in person in Chicago, Illinois. And so come on in. We have various safety protocols to keep everyone safe, but it's going to be one of the best investments you make in your life. And our reviews tell us that is a 100% truth. All right. So if you want to come, just go to speakyourwaytocash.com/event. Speakyourwaytocash.com/event, because I want to coach you for 3 days and help you to start speaking your way to cash. Talk to you soon, guys. Let's get back to this episode.
And what I mean by that is not that you don't need answers to it. I mean that you may already have the answer. So sometimes I get questions like, I already have a business. Should I add speaking as a revenue stream to my business? And I'm like, well, why would you want to do that? Oh, because, my business right now, I have to serve 200 clients in order to make $100,000. And with speaking, I think I could just, serve 10 clients and make $100,000, or serve 5 clients and make $100,000, or serve 1 client. We had a client the other day do a case study with us. She had 1 contract worth $111,000. So yeah, there's ways to do that, but you don't need me to tell you that. You know that that's possible. What you have to ask yourself is whether you're willing to do the work and the waiting that it takes to get that result. You don't need me to tell you that. You want to add it as a revenue stream. You want larger clients. You want to play on the highest level. And sometimes, and this has been my issue. So let's get personal. For me, when I left my corporate job, and if any of you can relate, just drop a yes in the comments. When I left my corporate job initially, I was like, no, I am not serving companies. I am not going back into corporate. I am not doing it. It was not a good experience. Like that, I was coming off of a really traumatic time at my workplace for a lot of different reasons. And they all did turn out to be a blessing, seriously. But at the time, I remember vividly thinking, I'm not going back into corporate. They can have that. I literally remember thinking that. And it took my husband sitting me down to say, the only reason you wouldn't pitch large corporations or go back into these institutions and sell them your services is if you're scared. If you're scared of being treated wrong, if you're scared of them not wanting to pay you enough, you're scared of them rejecting you. But the fact of the matter is, even if they were to reject you, you still would be fine. It's not a big deal. You need to do what you got to do. And I was terrified. I was like, I don't want to go back into corporate and have to deal with those people, and they're going to be talking to me some type of way, and I'm going to be irritated and all these things. And it was all about me and my feelings and what I didn't want to do. And he was like, oh, okay, so you scared. That's what it is. You scared. I was like, yeah, Yeah, that's what it is. And he was like, okay, but look back over your life. Your largest checks have come for corporations. You've negotiated 6-figure raises at your job. You know they have the money. You see their quarterly earnings statements. You know the talk. You know the language. Why wouldn't you go back in and just dominate? Why wouldn't it be different when you're in the power seat, when you're in control? That's how I'm feeling now. I'm trying to leave. But here's the thing. I am all for doing your own thing, having your own business, leaving corporate. The question that you have to ask yourself, and what I did while I was there that really helped me now, was I applied for every award that, like all the awards that that I wanted to achieve, I applied for those awards. So while you're in corporate, get everything they have for you. My dad would always tell me corporation is like they're paying you to learn. It's 100% true. I used all the resources at that firm. I won awards at that firm. They donated in my name to organizations that I cared about. And so before you leave any place, you want to get everything they have for you. You don't want to leave prematurely. And then if you are in a situation like I was, where they were undervaluing your expertise, they weren't treating you or paying you what you were worth, quote unquote, right? And I say quote unquote, because honestly, no one can pay me my worth, but they can pay me my rate. If you're in that type of a situation, you want to make sure that on your way out of corporate, you don't take baggage with you that you don't need to own. Let me repeat that. On your way out of corporate, do not take baggage with you that you don't need to own. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by that? Do not take baggage with you that you don't need to own. I mean, on your way out, don't take you're not worth more. Don't take your voice doesn't matter. Don't take people like you don't get promoted. Don't take you can't make millions of dollars. Don't take this company is bigger than your ideas. Don't take those negative narratives with you on your way out the door. They do. And let me tell you something else, guys. And this is scriptural, and I want to make sure I get it right. Thanks for the words. Yeah, don't take that stuff with you on out of corporate, because the real issue is when people get common with you, it is very difficult for them to see your brilliance because they've gotten common with you. And sometimes it's those people that know you the best, that understand your brilliance, that know exactly who you are. It's those managers. It's those family members that look at you and say, oh, I knew you when you were snot-nosed and had a little diaper on. She ain't doing nothing over there talking. You always on that internet. You always talking. Let me be very clear. Sometimes people who know you have a really hard time understanding how you have grown outside of the environment that you were born into when both of you had similar opportunities and both of you were in similar environments. Do not allow people who know you to speak negativity into your life. And when they do, don't welcome it like it's the newest thing that you want off Amazon. No, return to sender. That don't got nothing to do with me. And if you're not careful, if you're always around someone who's negative, you're always around someone who's downplaying your success, you're always around people who are taking credit for your ideas, stealing your stuff, not giving you appropriate praise for what you do, you're going to take all that baggage into every pitch you make, into every live video you give, into every coaching session you provide. You're going to take all that stuff with you. So what I want us to do moving forward is to stop adopting people's negative thoughts, ideas, and actions. And the way that we adopt it is by allowing people who do not have the right to speak into our lives. As an adult, I control who speaks into my hearing. I control who I listen to and who I don't. I control the environments that I'm in and the environments that I leave. I control the amount of time that people have access to me. And so do you. So don't allow other people to commandeer or hold you hostage by their negative words and thoughts. Here's an example. I went to visit a daycare and I asked them a question. I was like, okay, what training does the staff get on how to speak to children? What training do they get on how to speak to children? Oh, we don't, what do you mean by that? What training do they get on how to correct children, how to speak to children? Because I want to be really clear. I don't speak to my daughter any kind of way. I don't call her names that aren't hers. I don't, if I have to tell her no, I want to teach her in that moment what no means. Because guess what? I'm not teaching my daughter that no is a word to fear. So I want to make sure that when you say no, your tone is right to my child. So what training do they get on how to speak to children? And I say this because now I work with adults. And guess what? A lot of them are afraid, deathly afraid of the word no. And so what does it do? It stops them from playing bigger. It stops them from going for opportunities. It stops them from pitching. And when we're out, when me and Chris are out and we're looking at how other parents interact with their children, sometimes it's a beautiful lesson, but other times it's a weary tale. Other times it's a nightmare. And when I see how people tell their kids no, how they tell even like not even babies, because I'm talking about babies like under 2 years old. When I see how people tell their children no, I understand why so many adults are deathly afraid of being told no. I see why so many adults like accommodate their entire lives to make other people comfortable, not realizing that what you're doing is jailing yourself. From every opportunity you can have and you can imagine, you're literally jailing yourself from it because you're deathly afraid of the word no. So what I want to understand, how do you train your people on how to talk to my child? We're not teaching her to be afraid of no. I'm not teaching her that. No isn't a bad word. It could be a word of redirection. It's not a bad word. It could be a word of redirection. It could tell you something. But what it doesn't tell you to do is stop. No and stop are not synonymous. They're not. They're not synonymous. And if you don't have an appropriate view of the word no, you will think that no and stop are synonymous. So if someone tells you no, that means you should stop. And I hear it all the time. Someone was telling me they ran Facebook ads and they didn't get any sales. So Facebook ads don't work. So they stopped running Facebook ads. And I was like, that doesn't make sense because there are obviously people out there who are making a ton of money on Facebook ads. We've run ads successfully. They've been great. Now, if you're not getting any sales, if people are saying, no, they're not going to buy from you when you run Facebook ads, it doesn't mean you stop ads. It means you redirect your strategy. It's the exact same thing in life. If you send out 2 pitches and 2 people tell you no, you have to properly evaluate that. I just posted in the Speak Your Way to Cash Academy private group that you need 1,000 reps before you can make any sense of data. You can't pitch 2 people and say, this means I can no longer, I don't have a good topic. That's not what that means necessarily. It may mean that, but you don't know because you haven't pitched enough people to get any data. And no matter how amazing your coach is, it is difficult to make consistent income without having a consistent strategy for people to give you money. You ain't asking nobody for nothing. Most of the time, people aren't giving you anything. Okay. So number 3, I want to bring this up because I'm a Christian and a believer. And I heard this recently. Someone said that someone asked them how they landed their largest speaking engagement and they told them it was God, God gave it to them. And I was like, okay, well, let's go deeper. Let's go deeper. You're obviously a believer. You obviously prayed and that probably gave you peace and it gave you an ability, a sense of calm through the process. But you also did some stuff. You did some branding. You received some features. You pitched for those features. You made sure that your visual identity was consistent. You ensured that when someone came to you and asked to do business with you, you gave them a proposal. We worked on that proposal together. We did a VIP day. That framework, we helped develop that together. And so sometimes when you ask someone a question in passing and they only have a few minutes to give you that question, they'll tell you it was God. And that is probably true. Right? God has his hand in all things in your life when you're a believer. So yes, it was God. But I'm always a little cautious of that. And I want to tell you why. I'm a little bit cautious of that. When I ask someone something and they're like, oh, it was God. 100% it was God. Yes, it was God. But I don't want people to think, hear me on this. And I hope that you all understand what I'm saying with this, especially the believers. I don't want people to think that God is a get rich plan. And so that's always been my apprehension with mixing business and faith, is that I want to make sure that I'm accurately representing how this stuff works. Now, God's word has strategies for getting wealth. It directs you to study, to show thyself approved. That's in his word. It talks about laziness and what the lazy will have in this life. That's in his word. And at the same time, if you don't represent it right, people will think, well, darn, God doesn't love me because I'm not rich. And that's the message I don't ever want to send. So this comes back to making sure we're asking the right questions. and representing things clearly and effectively. And I think I may be more analytical and critical about this because I'm a lawyer. So I'm always thinking like, is that the best question? Is that going to get me the answer that I want? How do I decipher what someone is really saying? And I know that not everyone thinks like this. So I wanted to do this live this morning to share that with you all. If this was helpful, if it was good, please let me know. Drop it in the comments. I'll keep it up for a little bit. I don't know how long I'll keep this up, but if this was helpful at all, please do let me know. And if you'd like for me to coach you for 3 days on sales, strategy, landing press, building your speaking business, and the exact language you need to close deals, then please do join me at Speak Your Way to Cash Live November 4th through November 6th, 2021. Now, here's the thing. Even if you're like, okay, I know I'm coming, but I haven't caught my ticket yet, add those dates to your calendar. It seems like it's far away, but it's not. And if you need a certain payment plan, let me know that as well. Just hit me in the DMs or send a message to hello@AshleyNicoleKirkwood.com. Y'all go ahead and have an amazing day. Have an amazing time. Be motivated. Be blessed. Make sure you're asking the right questions. And the first person you need to ask questions to when getting clarity is really yourself. What do you want? How do you want to get it? And how do you want to feel when you arrive? Think about those things, meditate on those things. And if you're asking someone else questions, please don't ask just about the end result, but always ask about the habits. That's where you're going to get a lot of information that you can implement and that's actionable. All right, guys, Ashley Kirkwood, Speak Your Way to Cash. Talk to you later.
All right. Wasn't that interview amazing? If you're anything like me, you have pages full of notes. But here's the thing. Before you head out, I want you to go to facebook.com and join the Speak Your Way to Cash Facebook group. That is where I am. That's where a ton of other speakers are, a ton of other people who listen to the show. We all congregate there and chat. And it's 100% free. Now, if you're ready to take your speaking career to the next level, I have 2 ways for you to do that. One, you can go to AshleyNicoleKirkwood.com/SYWTC live replay and pick up the live replay. That training is 7 modules, chock full of information. It's crazy. Go over there, read all about it. Or if you want a more personal experience, you already know that you want to be a speaker. You're ready to fully commit and you want someone to walk you through it and save you tons of time Googling and doing it on your own, then book a VIP day with me. You can go to AshleyNicoleKirkwood.com, scroll down until you see the VIP day section and get more information on that there. All right. Thank you guys again for watching. Please do not forget to leave us a review. That is how we keep this train rolling and get some of the best speakers in the world to get on this show. So please, please, please leave a review. Shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram, and Facebook in the Speak Your Way to Cash group, Instagram at the Ashley Nicole Show. And I'd be more than happy to chat with you and say hi. All right, y'all have an awesome, awesome day.